Hello and welcome to another Bloom Room. I am Amy E. Reichert. I am here with Heather Webb, Kaia Alderson, and other way, Kelly Bowen. So Kaia is a historical author. She has written also books in the romance category. And her latest is her latest book, Sisters in Arms, is her historical fiction debut. Yay! And I also love that her Twitter bio says that she is Jedi Rebel scum, and that fills my heart joy. Yeah, so yes,
love it. That's so
love it. Kelly is an award-winning Canadian author. I like to give the Canadians a shout out. Yay, Canada! Sorry.
We answered everything.
I find myself walking around going sorry. All too often because I have a very dear friend who's Canadian. So welcome both of you to the Bloom Room. We're so excited to have you.
Thanks for having me so much.
So I just need to comment. Hi, ladies, Trisha and Sharon, who are a couple of our tried and true viewers.
Hi, guys.
And Sharon says, I found this right away tonight. Sharon, that is because Amy is here. And I can't even do the thing right. And she's the tech girl. So we're back at, she's back at the helm. Thank goodness.
I am. I was gone last week. It was the last week of summer with my kids, and we were doing a special family thing before they started school. So Heather valiantly took over the reins and
royally screwed it up.
Things went off the rails. Wonderful. All right. Should we get into Poppy News?
We shall.
Poppy News!
All right, so the big Poppy News this week is really kind of the only Poppy News, and that is Denny Bryce is about to share her cover tomorrow. And the thing is she's a Poppy, so we have special dibs, an extra early viewing of her cover, and it is In the Face of the Sun.
Oh, it is! I love this.
I'm loving this. Is that a Cadillac that is scooting away? I need to know what's going on with that.
It looks like there's palm trees. You can't see my mouse cursor moving up and down on the screen.
I was doing it too. That's not helpful.
It looks amazing. She, between her first book and this one, she's really hit the cover lottery. Those are just gorgeous covers.
Yeah, so it's a California set novel, 1920s again, I believe, and I can't remember the rundown, but you can find it anywhere now. You can pre-order it and all that good stuff. So yay, Denny!
But y'all got to see it first.
Yes.
So yay!
All right. Well, as always, we like to share what we're reading. Share the love of recommendations. So Kaia, what are you into this week?
Well,
living on.
Actually, The Collector's Daughter came out today, so after this, that's what I'm going to read.
Ooh, nice.
By Jill Paul.
Daughter by
Jill Paul.
Jill Paul. Okay.
Yes, it's about the daughter of the guy who found King Tut's tomb, I think. So I'm thinking Indiana Jones-ish, but with a skirt.
Well, right,
and
I think didn't she live in the real Downton Abbey Highclert Castle?
Yes, I saw that. Yes,
that's Downton Abbey mashed in there. I am all about some of that. Yes, I actually got to read an early copy, and when I'm like, who is that by? Because there's a lot of some of the titles are similar to each other, and I totally spaced out. And I'm like, oh, Jill, yes, it's her book, and it's a wonderful.
It sounded familiar.
I can't wait.
Yeah, good. All right.
Oh, I love that.
Kelly, what are you reading?
Actually, I went back to a nonfiction book that I read for my research for this book. This one, Codename Pauline, and I'm rereading it this week. It's a memoirs of Pearl Witherington Cornelioli, and I read it for when I was writing the Paris apartment, and I've gone back to read it again just because there's so much that I got out of it the second time that I almost missed the first time. I love her storytelling. She just tells you exactly what happened. It's awesome.
That's a good nonfiction when it reads more story than text.
It is. Yeah, it's not a text book. It's a memoir, like what she was feeling, what she was thinking. It's awesome.
I read a Grace Kelly biography like that was so juicy. I felt like I was reading tabloids, and it was really fun to read. By Robert, I want to say Slater. That's the best nonfiction for sure. Meanwhile, I'm reading nonfiction it's like pulling teeth. It's terrible. The guy doesn't understand story at all. It's fact after fact, and it doesn't feel like it's even like making sense with the headings. And I'm just like, oh, if I didn't need this info, I would totally ditch it.
You'll have to tell me what it is later.
Yeah, off screen. Amy, what are you reading?
So I mentioned this book a couple of weeks ago when it was just Tiff and I, but I'm actually in the middle of reading it, and today is the launch day for Portrait of a Scotsman by Evie Dunmore. It is fantastic. I am such an Evie Dunmore fangirl. I love her so much. In fact, we kind of become like internet friends because I sort of gushed all over her. And then her, like when she announced her second book, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't wait for it. And her editor saw it. And so her editor's like, hey, I noticed you liked her book. Do you want to blurb the second one?
Slightly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and then I was shamelessly begging for early copies of Portrait of a Scotsman. And I finally got them starting a couple of weeks ago. But I just started reading it. I'm halfway through already. I'll probably stay up way too late finishing. Listen to me just gush. What I love about these, they're set in Victorian times, so you have a little bit more of a modern era. Telegrams exist. They're on the cusp of electricity. Women's suffrage movement is in full swing. But you still have a lot of that, the elements of Regency romance that we love with the dukes and the society and the class and all that kind of stuff. But it is so conscientious of modern issues, but set in a historical setting. She's such a good writer, and they're just sexy. All right, that's what I'm reading. What are you reading?
If it's sexy, I'm putting it on my list. That's all I'm saying. The opposite of sexy, however, is The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. And I bought this. I don't know if anyone has seen this out, but it came out maybe 2 years ago. And I just never got to it, but it's the kind of thing that I literally save for September and October.
Yep.
Because it's fall and it's witches, and it's a young woman living in a rigid puritanical society, but she discovers dark powers within a feminist fantasy debut. Yes, please. So I'm going to be digging into that. That's not tomorrow, but the next day. I'm all over it. Look at me. I have it. It's like slotted. I have to finish it today and tomorrow, and then I'll start it after that.
I have like stacks of books with Post-it notes on them telling me what order I'm reading my books in.
Oh my God. I
might
can't
need
be
to do
that
that.
organized at all, man.
Well, I'm trying to stick to it because I really want to like make a dent in my TBR.
Yeah. So Kelly, you have a
I'm rooting for
fangirl in the audience. Lexi Rourke, did you see?
I saw Lexi.
Fangirling.
I'm also a really big fan of Lexi too.
I agree.
Yeah,
Lexi's
awesome.
1000%. So we want to hear about your books.
Yes.
Kaia, let's hear about your debut. I love the cover. I was lusting after this for many months before it came out.
I know. Sir, I've got a big one right over your face.
I
Kaia.
see. Even better.
I love this cover.
Yes, they actually, that's the very first cover they sent back. I was shocked. They nailed it.
Yeah,
But,
on occasion that happens, do not get used to it. I hate
Yeah.
to say.
I was prepared
I said
for,
cover my mouth,
back and
don't
forth.
use
But yeah.
Good.
They
I'm so
did a good
glad
job.
for you.
Yeah, but that book is inspired by the real life 6888 Postal Battalion, and they were the only all-black, all-female unit to go overseas during World War II. My book follows two fictional characters who basically impulsively join the Women's Army Corps and become members of their first officer class when they realized that their plans, that their perfect laid plans for life kind of blew up in their face. So it's like, I'll join the Army instead. Hijinks ensue.
Hijinks ensue. You have this sly humor that you just kind of slides right in when you're not expecting it. I dig it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what about something behind the scenes? Is there something that went horribly wrong? Something that went horribly right? that you could share with us?
Oh yes, I'd be glad
Let's hear
to.
We want the dirt.
When I first started the book, I did not make a formal timeline, and I just kind of did my research and did everything from memory. So in real life, this is the only unit that went over. They went over in 1945, and in my mind, I thought it was in 1942, 43. So I wrote this whole beautiful, perfectly researched Christmas novella about, Christmas in New York right before she ships out. And in 1942, Casablanca had just come out, so they go and see Casablanca, and there's 3 trees in Rockefeller Center and all these wonderful things. And then I go back to fact check one little thing. I'm almost done. I'm like, oh, it's the wrong year. Everything has to change.
Like literally all the world.
Everything had.
Oh,
yep.
God.
Yep.
That's intense. And that's
Yes.
so. Did you start out with this being a novella, and then you?
Yes. It was a
Okay.
historical romance novella about Soldier Girl's last night in town before she ships
Okay.
out. That still made it into the book, and luckily I found some equally wonderful details to put in for January 1945 when they were actually in New York, but I was stressed.
Yeah. Was that under
I was stressed.
deadline too?
No, this was before I had a contract, so it was okay. I was, but it was still like I had done a lot of research, and the details were just perfect, and it was just the wrong year.
And then you had a lot of darlings to kill.
Yeah.
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 Oh, that's too bad.
Mhm.
Well, it seems like readers are loving it. So congratulations on your debut. Making its way out there. That's exciting.
It is awesome.
I've been overwhelmed by the reception on it, because when I worked on it, I was like, no one would ever want to read this, and evidently everybody did. So
That is
grateful.
amazing.
Mhm.
That makes me so happy to hear.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Your characters are like people that I wish I could have known in real life. Like I love how they play off each other. Like they're so different, like the two of them, and yeah, it's awesome.
Mhm.
And it's hard to make those different voices on the page.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that is wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Basically, one night you're working in one character's head, the next night you're in another character's head.
Not easy.
Mhm.
No. I'm about to start working on a 4 point of view book myself, because
God
I'm
bless you.
for punishment. And yeah, like you guys are like, no, don't do it.
I
I'll let
did
you
it.
know how that
Must.
goes. Just check for my posts swearing on Twitter about why my book isn't working.
Do you have like a wish list for wine that we can just click a button and send it to you? Does anybody have that?
That is a really amazing idea.
I'm starting a business.
You know what? I am going to put that on my website. Like, ship me, if you want to give Heather a great gift, these bottles are.
I accept wine.
I accept wine.
Excellent idea.
One click wine. Oh, that's the name.
That is a $billion business idea right there.
Mm-hmm. Wait, scratch that from the record. Never mind.
Nobody heard it. All right.
Kelly, let's hear about your book.
Okay, so this book, The Paris Apartment, which
Sorry.
that's all good.
That's an
Which is
amazing
also
cover.
told in 4 points of view. So I didn't have a one-click wine button. I probably just would have been laying on the floor in a fetal position at some points in time. Because about 40,000 words in, you're like, what have I got myself into? I think it turned out okay. So my book is about a young professional, Leah, who inherits a Paris apartment from a grandmother that she loved, but never felt she really quite knew. And inside this apartment, she finds a whole treasure trove of fine art and some disturbing evidence that suggests that maybe her grandmother was a collaborator during the occupation. And there's an obscure painting in that big treasure trove that leads her to an art restorer based in London. And they kind of figure out who her grandmother really was and how their families were connected. And so this story is told in a past and present timeline.
Sounds
as well as
like
4 points of view.
A fun, almost sort of suspense, espionage little tidbits.
It is. I like to read action I like to read action, so I tend to write action in my books as well.
I'm super gonna read
I'm
this.
sold.
Can't wait. Yeah. So what about this? It's a beautiful cover. You're selling it. You're pitching it to us. We're all in love with the concept, but we know there was something behind the scenes that went on.
So behind the scenes, I don't have any I don't know if I can build Kaia's story. I have at some point in time in a previous book deleted half of it, 40,000 words worth. This is not good. But no, this one didn't have it other than wrestling my way through it. But I did, because it's an artsy kind of book. It has a lot of art history in it. When I was in New York, I went to the Met and I saw The Sacrifice of Polyxena, the big Charles Lebrun painting that's hanging there. And the provenance of that painting, it was discovered in the Ritz Hotel in Paris in the Coco Chanel suite before it was renovated. And there was nobody really kind of knew where it came from before that. So I invented a history for it from there.
There you go.
So that was kind of one of those little aha moments. I got to use it.
Fabulous. Well, I love that you went to the Met too, and you were inspired. I do a lot of that myself. I like, when I'm feeling kind of burned out, I like to go where there are beautiful things or interesting things to get me out of my head and in somebody, someone else's space to see, that was a great idea.
And just inventing the histories of things random things that you find out. I love. I mean, that's the fun part about what we do.
The fun.
I tell people I make stuff up for a living.
That's right. I don't.
I get paid to lie.
I don't say stuff though. I usually
use a different word.
I just tell people that I spend all day talking to the voices in my head for a living.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, Kelly, did you there's a couple of other books about the pair. This was the news story with the apartment, right?
It was, and that was a number of years ago. That was the De Florian apartment that was discovered in Paris, and it had been shut up for probably 60 years. And it was opened, and there was a painting, a Boldini painting that was found in that apartment among all sorts of other things. And it ended up selling for quite a lot of money.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So was that part of your inspiration too?
It was a little, I kind of tripped over that one and that's a really cool story. And then not long after that, The Girl at Hoard, where all the paintings were found in Munich and then again in Austria as well. And I kind of went, that's amazing. Like, that's just shocking, actually.
To keep it under wraps for so many years.
Yeah.
I want to find an apartment full of priceless paintings.
Me too.
Write it to me. Yeah.
This sounds like an adventure I want to have in my life.
If you Google it, those stories pop up every once in a while, like with surprising frequency, where someone opens a cellar somewhere and there's paintings there. It's
wow.
It reminds me of you all might be too young to remember Geraldo Rivera and Al Capone's vault. Live television event. And they didn't find anything. But this is the good version of if he had found something. So, sorry, I just dated myself.
No.
We're
all shaking our heads.
We're all like, oh yeah.
So we love to see authors' hidden talents or their favorite items to share with our viewers. Kaia, is there something you can share? Look at your face. You're like,
I don't know if I can get a good picture, but this weekend at Trader Joe's, I discovered crispy, crunchy ginger chunk cookies, which are basically ginger snaps with huge chunks of ginger in it. And my family discovered them too, because I was foolish enough to say, hey, you got to try this. So I'll be back at Trader Joe's this weekend to get more. Eating is my special talent.
Same. Oh my God, same. So mid-afternoon when I'm starting to slump, something like one of those cookies and a cup of tea, and I am a very happy customer.
Or if it's at night, ice cream and that cookie. Oh my God.
Oh, it's crumbled on top.
So I'm going to take that banana
sandwich.
You can even take what you should do. Listen to me.
What I will do?
Pre-make ice cream sandwiches. So you make the ice cream sandwiches and then wrap them in plastic wrap, stick them in the freezer, and then they're all nice and frozen and wonderful whenever you're ready for them. So,
yes, I am. I am a member of Black Girl in Trader Joe's, Instagram and Facebook.
Oh. You got to tell us what this is now, because I don't know what this is.
Oh, it's basically a bunch of fangirling over everything that Trader Joe's sells.
Love it. Like there should be a Target. There should be a Target.
There is a Target one, I think.
Okay.
I know
People
there's
love
one for
Target.
Aldi. Yeah, there is, and I think there's a Costco one too.
I have heard that Trader Joe's now sells Kringle, which is an oval shaped pastry, which is a Wisconsin thing, and they are from a Wisconsin bakery, which is relevant to my next book.
I think I might have seen that.
Yes, so I highly recommend if you enjoy pastries. The Kringle is usually almond flavored. I think the ones they have there, and they are very, very good.
Delicious.
So when I go back this weekend and get more ginger chunks, I will look for it.
Yes. You needed another sweet to throw in your throat.
Yes, this is my superpower.
Yes. See, I knew there was a reason I liked you.
Looking for pastries, yes.
And Kelly, what about you?
Well, I don't have any
hidden talent.
I don't have any hidden cookies, but I love and we don't have Trader Joe's either, so I can do nothing with this information.
We can mail it to you.
That would be appreciated with the wine. You can add it to the button. I don't know if it's a hidden talent. I coach volleyball. I played volleyball in university, and now I coach anywhere from U12 to U18. But quite often in my practices, so my hidden talent is bringing the culture of like the 80s and 90s to these poor cultureless children. So, in practice, if someone's not paying attention, for example, I'd say like Bueller, and they all look at me with these blank faces, and then we all watch a movie in the next practice. So by the time Cobra Kai came out and I said wax on and wax off 50 times, they actually knew what I was talking about, and they knew what was happening in Cobra Kai. Yeah, without even having to do any for their homework. Yep.
You played at the college level. That's really cool. My best friend was a Division I volleyball player, and she's amazing. I can't we're not youthful anymore, and she can still whack the crap out of that ball. Amazing. I've taken it to the face a few times by accident. You do not want to be on the receiving end of one of her hits. That's all.
You know what? Hitting volleyballs like that at 15-year-old boys is incredibly therapeutic. Incredibly therapeutic.
Yeah. I would like to do that. So these were coaching. For some reason, I assumed you were coaching girls. You're coaching boys.
I coach both. Yeah. Which is coaching two different species completely. But it is.
Yeah. I coached track, as we talked about, high school track, and I did boys and girls. I was a distance coach, so I had both, and they're night and day. Like the boys love to like joke around. They want you to make fun of them. They want to like. The girls are no. There's no making fun of. There's no teasing. At least not like that. Really different. A lot of drama, but lovely. They're all. I like them both a lot.
They keep you honest.
And my daughter just made the volleyball team as a freshman.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, very good. So this is all relevant.
Yeah, all relevant. I can't do anything about the cookies, but this is relevant.
Still, thank you for your service, because they never get my references, and they're awesome.
Yes, I agree. So my husband and I, because I have two teenagers, and my husband and I recently watched a few 80s movies with the kids. One of them was Pretty in Pink, and I have to say, it didn't hold up.
A lot of them don't.
It doesn't.
So we watched Real Genius with Val Kilmer. That is, I don't know if you are familiar with it. That one holds up completely. It's fantastic. Everybody loved it. It worked great. But I was so sad about Pretty in Pink, and it became so obvious that she should be with Ducky at the end. Why are you with the idiot? So I could write a whole book about that.
Yeah.
Molly Ringwald did a whole essay on it. Actually, in the New Yorker, I think I read it not too long ago.
I have to go find that.
Yeah, for real. Because I made the mistake of watching Girls Just Want to Have Fun with my daughter. No, I loved it, but she was like, "Mom, so and so shouldn't be saying that to whoever, and he shouldn't be acting like that around her." And I was just like, I know. There was this whole like semi-molesting thing happening when they're at a club. And I just thought, we thought that was funny. That is so not freaking funny. No. But did not hold up well.
Yeah, don't go back and watch 16 Candles. It'll break your heart.
Oh, no. That one's bad too, huh?
No. I feel like Breakfast Club would, though. For the most part.
For the most part. It has some moments, but for the most part.
Yes.
I haven't seen it in so long. I
Because
can't.
they're all kind of delinquents anyway in their own right. So bad behavior is a little bit more understandable and not quite so awful. I mean, it's still awful, but you know what I mean. So, all right. This is turned into Wendy's movie chat.
I told you, you never know where the conversation's going to go.
No. That's true. You never, ever do. Do you have anything, Heather, to share? Any fun?
I don't this week. No, I was letting our ladies take over. Do you have something, Amy?
I do.
Okay, what you got, lady?
So I don't know how you guys are about reading on devices. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a Kindle reader, but I do have an iPad, and I finally got a new case. This is called it's Dodo Case is the brand. It's all dirty because my husband was using it this summer. But I love it because it looks like I'm kind of reading a book. And it even has that little book plate feature. So I love my Dodo case. And if you're a weird person like me, where for some reason it makes reading on my device feel more like I'm reading an actual book, because then you can hold it like a book. So I really, really like it. And I highly recommend Dodo case. And I think they make them for Kindles. I have an iPad mini because I'm weird. So I think they make them for all sorts of things. But I highly recommend this product. And the cool part is you can customize the design. So like I got to pick the color, and I got to pick the little side bit and the color of this thing. So it's kind of good. So, yeah.
Ooh, I want.
Yes. So highly, yeah. And they're not super cheap, but I feel like it's really like the device is really in there securely, and I've dropped it a few times and it's held up well. And I spilled coffee on it and it wiped right off, which is even more important.
That's all we have time for, ladies. That went by really fast.
It did. Always does.
I know it does. Thank you for joining us. I'm very excited about both of your books. We've got links for people interested in ordering in the comments. Thank you, Lexi.
Yes.
Thank
you, Lexi.
Yeah, and I hope we get to see you guys. I mean, you're both historical novelists, as am I, obviously. So I'm hoping I run into you guys at the next Historical Novel Society conference. If it's in person, I'm hoping.
If we're ever allowed out of our houses ever again.
If we're ever allowed out into the world, yes.
If I'm ever allowed back into your country.
Yes.
I feel like
us and yours.
And I could probably sneak you in through northern Minnesota. We could
Excellent.
find a way.
I'll put my camo on and just crawl through the bushes.
Yeah, we can make it work.
Okay.
I'll get you over here. All right, ladies, thank you so much for joining us. This has been wonderful. And that is it for another Boom Room, and we will see you all next week. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.